Hi, it's Pastor Paul L. Anderson here at the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship, where we believe God's blessings never stop flowing. It's Satisfaction Saturday. It is the last day of the week, the seventh day, and we thank God for how He has blessed us to see so much and to be satisfied in our hearts. We thank God for all of you and for all of your prayers. We thank God that we're on the other side of the storm. Some of us have some cleanup to do, just as we clean up our personal lives and clean up our properties. And I want to ask that if you would, please, let's continue to pray for one another. We especially ask that those of you who are our ministry partners here at the Fountain, keep in your prayers Sister Sandy Woodside. Her son Scott went on to be with the Lord, and we ask that you would pray for the entire Woodside family, that God will bless them and keep them. And we thank God for the memory of Brother Scott, who used to bring his mother to church basically every Sunday before the pandemic. And so we ask that you would pray for the Woodside family. Thank God for all of you. You know, it lets us know in life that all of us are born for a purpose. It is oftentimes that we forget that we are not here by accident, but we're here by divine providence. I can say that for certain, that, you know, I'm the youngest of 9 children. When my mom and my dad, when they got together and started their family, they had 5 children in Georgia, and then they moved to Charlotte, and they had 4 more children, and I was that last child to be born. After my mom had had some complications, she and I both, we almost died in childbirth, but I'm so grateful that Mom thought it was God's will for me to be born, and they marked me with the name Paul. I had no idea that a name can do so much with a person. And so they marked me with the name Paul. And you know, the name Paul means small, and it sometimes means small in stature, but it can mean we're big at heart. And so we find out the writer of our text today, out of Luke's Gospel, the first chapter, verses 57 through 80. It talks about being born with a purpose. This is the story that we find of the account of how John the Baptizer was born. And it's important to call him John the Baptizer. Oftentimes we call him John the Baptist, and some people think that's because he was of the Baptist denomination persuasion, but no, he was the one who baptized people for the remission of sins. Our text on today begins to let us know that Elizabeth was bringing birth into this world a son. And this son was a special son because Elizabeth had gotten up in age. Remember, Elizabeth was the cousin of Mary, and Elizabeth had been barren. She was married to a man by the name of Zachariah. Zachariah was a priest, and God told Zachariah in the temple that his wife was going to have a baby, and told him what the child's name would be. And after that moment, Zachariah lost his ability to speak. You know, sometimes in our lives that God will give us such things that are so profound, and so profundant that we find ourselves not being able to articulate what God has given to us. God said, Zachariah, I'm going to allow you not to be able to speak until after John is born. And so for these 9 months, Zachariah hasn't said a word. You know, what would it be like for all of us if we lost our ability to speak verbally? How would our lives change? You know, most of us, we spend our lives talking. We spend our professions talking. We have our relationships with our family and our close and intimate friends through and by what we call dialogue, the exchanging of words. What would happen if we lost that? You know, I have a sister who does sign language. You know, many times we forget the power of saying thank you to someone. We forget how to say hi to someone. You know, sign language is a very powerful language. I can only imagine that Zachariah had learned how to make signs and symbols that he had to create to say what he was communicating. And so now we find here in the text that Zachariah is not able to speak, but Elizabeth has now carried this child, John, for 9 months. He's born. It's now the 8th day. So now they take him to the temple to present him to God. And so all of those who were there, they said, what's the child's name going to be? Will he be named after one of his family members? Elizabeth says no. She says no because the Lord had told her that she would have a son and they would name him John. And she said his name is going to be John. Everybody exclaimed, there's nobody in the family named John. And so then Zachariah speaks for the first time in almost 9.5, 10 months. He said his name is John. He began to use these gestures, and then he has the ability to speak, and he says, his name is John. So what he lost has now come back. That reminds all of us that sometimes when we lose something, when we get it again, we value it like never before. God has blessed them with this baby boy. His name shall be called John. Zechariah, now who is a priest, he began to prophesy. And he says that this child John will be great. He says this child John will be the forerunner. He will come praising God. He will give God glory. And not only that, he will be the child that is so special. And they knew that John would be special because the hand of the Lord was upon him. In all of our lives, we need to pray that God's hand is upon us. God's hand is upon us at childbirth. And so now God has blessed them in such a powerful way. And Zechariah goes on to proclaim that this child John shall be the forerunner. He shall tell everybody about the one who is coming after him. He will be the one who will prepare the way for the Messiah. He will be the one that will prepare the way for Israel. He knows without a shadow of doubt his child is born for a purpose. Beloved, all of us need to know that we were born for a purpose. God has a design plan for all of our lives. God has a divine destiny for all of us to be in, because we are a part of the great scheme, a part of the great setting, a part of the great scene of what God has in store for this world. All of us can be forerunners. All of us can go forth and tell others about the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ. We can go forth and tell everyone that God has sent a man named Jesus, his only begotten Son, to set the captive free and to give all of us liberty, and for all of us know that now is the acceptable year of the Lord. John was born for a purpose. I hope you know you were born for a purpose. I was born for a purpose. God has a divine purpose and destiny for all of our lives. Today, if you don't know your purpose, pray and ask God, and God will not only disclose it to you as you read his word, but he'll send someone to proclaim and to affirm it. We pray God's blessings upon you. We'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow in worship at the fountain, where we believe God's blessings never stop flowing.
To sow a seed to the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship, visit our newly redesigned website, thefountainofraleigh.org, and select Sow a Seed from the homepage. Also, giving has been made easier with the new Fountain of Raleigh app, available now in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Download today, select Giving from the main menu, and then follow the directions to complete your giving through Subsplash.
Thank you so very much for all of your gifts and donations that you've given to the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship. We thank you for what you've done in the past, what you're currently doing, and what you will do in the future. Your gifts and donations helps us to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, not only locally, but throughout the world. Thank you again for your gifts, and may God continue to richly bless you. It is here at the Fountain that we believe that we are exceedingly and abundantly blessed, and may you receive those blessings that God has in store for you.